very good morning and welcome to Kusile Breakfast Show. Thank you so much for waking up with us. It is the 26th of January 2023. Simakhulu kusenkethe ukubana sinomhlekiseni sanivusela siyamukela ngulungelele makakwelelo nivuselako ona Sifiso Nxumalo. Sifiso, how do you do this morning?
I'm doing great, Lungelele. Ngeva ngawe nje mina ngijabulisa ukuthi singaselituli lamuhla. Lipholile.
Yeah, namhlanje sipholisile.
Lonke solo siyasha.
Yeah.
Sike nje sisiphola namuhla ngabe wena uvuka njani?
No, sivuka kahle Sifiso, but my temperatures kwangathi kusasa yabuyela futhi ayashuta up like 30 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. It's too extreme. Nalo 25 mina yangihlupha. Ngoba kungathi nje around 2 p.m. namhla ba forecast ukuthi sibuyela ku 25 degrees Celsius, but nje appreciate lokuvuka lipholile.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. You can also watch us on YouTube as well as on your phone if you have the Eswatini TV app.
Yeah. Namhlanje ehlelweni Lungelele kutabe kumnandi kakhulu sinebaka Escom. I believe ukuthi nje cishe lihlelo lethu la namhla lonke litabe linebaka Escom, but sitabe sikhulumisa indvo letahlukene manje ekuqaleni indvo etayikhulumisa kakhulu indzaba ye data protection. Siyathi ukuthi people's personal data is being processed every second in 17 people's relations with public authorities in the health field, lapho sithenga khona goods and services, must travel, noma ngabe nje silapho internet. Individuals are generally unfamiliar with the risks that related nayo protection your personal data yawo nemalungelo ayo ke in terms of there is the rights in this respect. Siyathi ukuthi they seldom are aware of what they can do. They consider that their rights have been breached or the role of national data protection agencies. Lakangwane ke kune Escom, the Communications Commission, lekungiyo lebuka yona data protection. They are the Data Protection Authority and they operate under legislation ye Data Protection Act. Stabana ke siphiwe Dlamini lo ngumchumanisi wakhona ka Eswatini Communications Commission. Kodwa sichazela kabanzi njenga 7:30 mayelana nayo le act, the overview of the act and the role of Escom as a data protection authority. Looking forward to that.
Alright, and then 6:30 ke sidlala nje liba nema inspections njalo ukuqinisekisa ukuthi ama broadcasters alapha ekhaya produce quality content kanti ke kulo ma investigations noma inspections kwatholakala lokuthi it was noted that there was some slight improvement from the results obtained during the previous reporting period. As the results have ukuthi some broadcasters showed compliance ngama scores that range from 26.5% to a maximum of 79.4%, which was an improvement from the year 2020-2021 scores, which was ranged between a minimum of 26.5 to a maximum of 76.5%. Service Commissioner naye lapha Broadcasting Services Manager Vuzigama Khumalo kuva ukuthi ngabavele mhlambe kuba leyangana nje ukuthi bahle bawendela ama inspections, and also dokumloko ukuthi kube nemhlangano skola lecala evikini eliphelile ephethe nje itolo lapho khona bebacecesha ama broadcasters lapha ekhaya eSwatini ngayona indaba ukuthi kumele ba improve quality of a good broadcaster kwabo. So we'll be speaking to Vusigama Khumalo nomhlekiseni nga 6:30. Let's take a break nasibuya sasa indaba tethu nomhlekiseni.
It has just gone 5 minutes after 6 lomhla ekuseni asivele singene kudoti indzaba tetfu talomuhla. Indvuna yetekuhlela umnotfo Dr. Tambo Gina ithi inhlangano yamhlabuhlangene iyachubeka nekubambisa live etinhlelweni tentfutfuko. Gina uthi tinhlelo tentfutfuko event iphatamseke kakhulu nakubhedvuka i-COVID-19 kanye-ke nakunemisindvo lehle isuka lapha eveni. Indvuna beyikhuluma emhlanganweni wekubuka kutsi ngabe tihamba njani vele tinhlelo takamhlaba letisita live leSwatini.
Ngemnyaka wa 2021 litiko letekuhlela umnotfo nentfutfuko libambisene namhlabuhlangene ligatsha lalapha eveni lisukumise luhlaka leminyaka lesihlanu leyatiwa ngele United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework lolutawubuka kwesekelwa kwelive ngetindzabeni tekufeza amagoli akamhlaba emfutfuko lekhonsako nekubuka tikhebesi letikhona kutentfutfuko yelive. Ngalesithatfu ke lihhovisi lakamhlaba netinhlangano talelihhovisi kanye nematiko ahulumende libambe umhlangano wesithatfu kubuka ukuthi live selihambe kanganani netindzabeni tentfutfuko lekhonsako lapho khona indvuna lelitiko Dr. Tambo Gina ivete khona ukuthi live ngaloluhlaka selakhe umgomo lomusha wentfutfuko i-National Development Plan.
It also received support towards the preparation of the new development plan, which will guide the planning process from 23 to 28. I am also made aware of the significant progress made in the other result groups and want to commend all of you for the effort and commitment. Despite the highlighted achievements, I am also made aware of the implementation challenges, which have limited progress in the implementation of the cooperation framework. My team advises me that COVID-19, tropical cyclone, and the civil unrest have affected progress in a number of ways.
Lobuke lihhovisi lakamhlaba kuleli George Wachiri yena uvetile kutsi live lidzinga kucinisa tinhlelo tekutfutfukisa umnotfo njengoba umhlaba uyachubeka nekubhekana netimo lesetiholela ekutseni luncipho lusito lemali lolichamuka kuletinye tikhwama temhlaba. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Samkeliswe Khoza ezulwini.
Mapalani lomkhulu etiko letekulima Sydney Miscellaneous uthi live lidzinga kutsi lichubeke licinise tinhlelo tekulima etikolweni kuthi live leSwatini libe nekudla lokwenele. Miscellaneous bekakhuluma ngesikhatsi lelitiko letfula emathulusi ekulima etiko letemfundvo. Lamathulusi angephasi kwelihlelo lelwesekele live leTaiwan.
Litiko letemfundvo nekucecesha selemukele emathulusi ekulima lafaka ekhatsi emathangi emanti emaphayiphi ekunisela kulokunye lokunikelwe litiko letekulima ngaphansi kwelihlelo lokukhutsata kulinywa kwetibhidvo tesintfu elivekatini le-Afrika lelichutshwa nguhulumende welive leTaiwan, i-Taiwan Africa Vegetable Initiative TAVI. Lamathulusi atawuniketwa tikolo letilishumi-nesitfupha kuto tonke tifundza telive. Mapalani lomkhulu etiko letekulima Sydney Miscellaneous uthi live lidzinga kusebentisa tonke tindlela tekukhicita kudla lokwanele.
An initiative aimed at encouraging every household, including schools, to produce its own food using locally available resources. And TAVI project proved to be what Eswatini needed in order to complement these ongoing national programs through access of the healthy and affordable traditional vegetables.
Mapalani lomkhulu etiko letemfundvo Bethemba Gama sekemukela lamathulusi ucele tikolo kutsi tiwaphatse ngetandla totimbili.
Implore the receiving schools to make sure they use these tools that have been donated appropriately and guard against, like I said earlier, guard them jealously.
Umcondzisi weliphiko lesifundza lesentasi nelivekati le-Afrika lenhlangano yakamhlaba lebuke kulinywa kwetibhidvo i-World Vegetable Center Dr. Gabriel Rugalema yena uthi sesikhatsi sekutsi emave elivekati le-Afrika acinise indzaba yetinhlelo tekukweleka emanti kukhulisa kukhicitwa kwetibhidvo. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Samkeliswe Khoza ngiseMalkens.
Kanzi ngalokunye mapalani lomkhulu etiko letekulima Sydney Miscellaneous uthi ngenxa yekushisa lokukhona kulamalanga sivuno selive salonyaka kangeke ke safika kuleli zinga belibhekekile. Miscellaneous bekakhuluma ngesikhatsi lelitiko letfula emathulusi ekulima etiko letemfundvo latawusebenziswa etikolweni. Lo msebenzi bowubanjelwe eMalkens Research Station.
We are looking at the issues of climate change. I've just received a report that some of the maize that we were hoping would be or would yield a huge percentage or contribution towards achieving our targets has been actually destroyed by the heat wave. So honestly speaking, we feel that these projects are actually helping us and assisting us in achieving food security in the country. We want to realize and express our appreciation that these school feeding programs actually do more than what we had anticipated. We were thinking that this is just a school feeding program where because the children will be at school, then they'll be able to get food. But we have realized that with some of the children, that is the only meal that they will have for the day.
Kubalulekile ke ukuthi emabhizinisi asasebenza atinake tindzaba temvelo bosomabhizinisi labancane nalabasemkhatsini bafundziswe kabanti ngetindzaba temvelo nekubamba emazinga basathengisa. Inhlangano i-International Trade Center ifundzise bosomabhizinisi labancane nalabasemkhatsini ngekunakekela imvelo basasebenza. Lo mhlangano sikolwa ubanjelwe ehhotela lase-Hilton eMbabane.
Inhlangano International Trade Center ihlanganisa umhlangano sikolwa lowatiwa nge-environmental social governance lapho khona ihlanganise emabhizinisi lasemkhatsini nalasakhula ngenhloso yokuthi awafundise kabanti ngabumcoka bekunakekela imvelo asasebenta. Andilezekala lawa yoko International Trade Center usichazela kabanti ngabumcoka balomhlangano.
Sithi manje asesike sitoshiyeka naligwayi nato tonke letinhlangano sisebenza nato sitobuka lokuthi manje vele dabatini lesingadenda ukuthi sisebenzisane kahle nema communities ethu netisebenzisi tethu kanye futhi nalemvelo lapho khona sisebenza khona.
Labameleli amabhizinisi aboke lasemkhatsini naboke bathi lo mhlangano umcoka impela njengoba futhi ufike ngesikhathi lesikahle njengoba vele lokunye bese bakukhohliwe kanti ke kumcoka basasebenta.
How do you actually become as a business more responsible for anything that is related to how you treat your employees, your stakeholders, the artisans that might work with you? So I think this sort of work is very important to make us all SMEs understand the importance of adding these values into the core of our business and our foundations.
Kuningi lo lokufuna ukuthi ucomply with kuze ukuthi your product imukeleke emarket angaphandle. So umhlangano lo njena ukunika ukuthi utibonele ukuthi ukuphi wena ngecompliance in terms of environment, social, nako konke nje lokuthintsana necompliance.
Lamabhizinisi ke lamanye athengisela ngaphandle kwelive laseSwatini kanti ke kubhekekile ukuthi vele tindzaba tetemvelo netekunaka umhlaba asasebenta nekunakana odvana akunake ngaso sonke isikhathi. Etindzabeni ngengiyani Msibeng naSimuva Shongwe sise-Hilton eMbabane.
Lihhovisi leliphini landvunankhulu licucutela njalo batali ukuthi batfolele bantfwana titifiketi tekutalwa kute bate ukhona kungena esikolweni. Ingani phela kunebantfwana balomunye make wakamatsenjwa emahlabatsini kumatsapha lebahleli ekhaya labangafundzi ngenxa yokuthi bete titifiketi tekutalwa. Bomakhelwane ngekucabangela likusasa labantfwana bathi batamile kumkhulumisa lo make kutsi akamikise bantfwana esikolweni kodwa nani akabeva.
Libandla tindzaba lalomsakato lidonswe indlebe bantu tsite emahlabatsini kumatsapha babuka ke bantfwana labatsatfu balomunye make lesolo bangayi esikolweni kane iminyaka yabo ivuma kutsi ngabe basesikolweni bayafundza. Labo makhelwane bakhulumise nene betindzaba bathi ke batendile taba kuthola kutsi yini sizatfu lebesenta kutsi labantwana bangayi esikolweni lebakhandzeke kutsi sizatfu kutsi bete titifiketi tekutalwa letidzingekako ke khona-ke etikolweni. Libandla letindzaba-ke nemambala lifikile kulomake lambuta kutsi kuyangani bantfwana bangayi esikolweni kube kunemfundo yamahala lebhatalelwa nguhulumende. Nompumelelo Matsenjwa uthi kwayena-ke ngeshwa ude isitifiketi sekutalwa nesichazabuve i-ID naye-ke ude.
Kukhona labo ngigogonya khona ngiva ubuhlungu nabahleti bangafundzi nami ngiyafisa ukuthi ngabayafundza njengalala abanye ngoba nalalo mdzala naye uyafundza kodwa nje akusikahle. Nayalo nje report yakhe asikayiboni ukuthi ithini ngalokuthi ude lesitifiketi bafuna ukuthi sibhadare kude nale mali yokubhadara bekaka grade 4.
Sibeseke sishayela umcondzisi wabosonhlalakahle ehhovisini leliphini landvunankhulu umcusi Shongwe samethela-ke lendzaba. Shongwe uthi kusasa lokusako nje basetikwayo lendzaba njengoba bayithethe-ke imininingwane yakhe-ke nompumelelo babone-ke ukuthi lusito luni lebangalunika bona nalomndeni nokuthi-ke batawucinisekisa ukuthi bantwana baya esikolweni kude mathutane nje. Etindzabeni ngingiyani Msibi naSmuva Shongwe sisemahlabathini.
Inkampani yahulumende i-Micro Projects solo iyachubeka nekusekela kuvuswa kabusha kwemadibhi etinkomo lasamadzala lapha eveni. Lelo visi selisukumise umsebenzi wekwakhiwa kwelidibhi lakumncweba ngaphansi kwenkundla yasemadla ngempisi. Leli dibhi litawubita-ke tinkulungwane letingama300 netinkulungwane letilishumi emalangeni, 310,000 emalangeni.
Ukuphumelela kwesikole sekwakhelwa lidibhi kube yinto lebajabulise kakhulu bafuyi belidibhi lasemncweba njengoba leli likhona alisekho esimeni lesikahle. Lo sabambe kuba ngumhloli wetilwane etiko letekulima Kingsley Dlamini uthi kubambana nekuba munye ngona kusikiya sentutfuko.
Nasikhuluma ngentuthuko sibukeni lokho ukuthi sisonke sidibana kuphi la tawufika mjatululekele indzaba yesidzingo esinaso hambe sente lokule cabanga ukuthi kungasisindi.
Bucopho wakazandondo Musa Simelane ubonge uhulumende ngokubabambisa babafuyi.
La idama edibhu letinkomo emncweba namuhla bekulilanga lekwekuthi basethulele i-report laba baka micro project lapho sacela khona sibafuyi. Sacela ukuthi sicela basakhele lidibhu letinkomo ngoba leli sinalo selidzala kakhulu. Nawulandzela ke ukuthi lakhiwe nini, lakhiwa 1947. Lokusho ukuthi alisekho esimeni lesikahle sekuthi le mfuyo yethu njengemnotho wethu likhone kusisita ngalokufanele. Namuhla ke micro project anelitiko laka agriculture bekulilanga lekulonja kuthi basho ukuthi isicelo sethu siphumelele.
Micro project usekele kwakhiwa kwaleli dibhi ngemali letinkulungwane letingama300 netinkulungwane letilishumi 310,000 emalangeni kanti-ke tingama200 tibaya letitawuzuza kulesi sakhiwo. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV ngingibonga Magagula kaZandondo.
Kulandzela kutsi inkampani yahulumende letsenga iphindze itsengise tibhidvo kuleli i-Eswatini National Agricultural Marketing Board itfole sitifiketi selizinga lakamhlaba lekugcina tibhidvo endzaweni yekugcina tibhidvo encabaneni i-ISO 22000. Inhlangano lemelele balimi kuleli Eswatini National Agricultural Union ikhutsata balimi kutsi baphakamise lizinga lemikhicito yabo.
Leli zinga lelitfole kulenkampani yahulumende letsenga iphindze itsengise tibhidvo kuleli Eswatini National Marketing Board licinisekisa kutsi kudla kugcinwa kahle. Umcondzisi wenhlangano lebukele balimi kuleli Eswatini National Agricultural Union Lwazima uthi leli zinga litawuvula timakethe temhlaba.
Sibakhutsate balimi ukuthi abatame ngalokusemandleni abo ukuthi bawabambe emazinga kusukela emasimini. Ngoba lokuniketwa kwanambodi leli zinga leli noma lesitifiketi saka ISO akugcini la kulo nambodi kuhamba kuyofinyelela nakithi balimi. Uma ngabe thina balimi singakawulimi umkhicito losezingeni sekusho compromise leli zinga leli litfolile nambodi mhlawumbe bese sesilahlekelwa ngamathuba aleto timakethe internally na also ngaphandle kwelive. Shothi ke siyabakhutsata kakhulu balimi ukuthi babambe emazinga kusukela ekulimeni kwabo.
Embikweni letfunyelele betindzaba umphathi wakanambodi Phekizwe Maziya uthi lokutfolakala kwaleli zinga kukhomba kusebenta ngekutikhandla kwakanambodi. Uthi wethemba ukuthi leli zinga litatfutfukisa tibhidvo litotsengiswa ngephandle kwelakuleli. Etindzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla inaSmuva Shongwe sikaManzini.
Nenhloso yekufinyelela kuso sonke sive litiko letemphilo luhlangothi lolubuke emdlavuza selihlele kusebentisa temidlalo kwatisa kabanti ngebumcokwa bekuhlola mdlavuza wemlomo wesibeletfo. Ngekusho kwemchumanisi weluhlangothi lolubuke emdlavuza itiko letemphilo Dr. Teluleko Maseko litiko selende tinhlelo letahlukene tekwatisa kuvikela nekulapha sive.
Yena litiko nalo liyaligayina kuma global goals la khona nasethiwa WHO
lekhona nje global goal isho ukuthi-ke by 2030 kufuna sibe sesi-eradicate-ile eliminate-ile i-cervical cancer evele. Litiko-ke nalo litimisele ukuthi vele lisebenze ukuthi lichase ukuthi lifike kulelo zinga lelo. Likhuluma ukuthi-ke kufune kube na-90% webantfwana labancane lasebajovile bajova yona i-HPV vaccine na-70% wabomake nabosisi lasebavele bawuhlolile umdlavuza womlomo wesibeletho na-90% wabomake latholako ukuthi bathola kulapheka nge-precancerous treatment naletinye tinhlelo letikhona evele. Le HPV vaccine iyawucala ebantfaneni labancane letawati ukuthi bagomeleke kule HPV lona ligciwane elibanga le-cervical cancer. Icayela kulabancane bantfwana kufuna kubonakala ukuthi emva kweminyaka lemitsite kunakhona sitawubona sithombe sethu ukuthi sime kanjani. Kulesikhathi sibanika nje nasitawubekisa sibanika kulomnyaka ngeke sisibone lesithombe lesihlobile kepha ekuhambeni kwesikhathi ekuhambeni kweminyaka sitawati ukubona ukuthi leya sayisusa le kujova abantfwana kuloya mnyaka seyikhona sesithola-ke nawo ema-fruits ayo ngaleso sikhathi leso.
Litiko letemfundvo litawusukumisa luphenyo endzabeni yemotolo yalo lekuphele inyanga solo yapakwa esikolweni lesikhulu sasesiPhoxosini. Lisekela lamabhalane lomkhulu kulelitiko Constance Vilakati uthi umshayeli wale motolo watisa lelitiko kutsi yakheni ikhwa egalaji lahulumende i-Central Transportation Administration.
Kade esikoleni semabanga laphakeme sasesiPhoxosini Richards Hlongonyani uthi le moto eyema kule sikole kusukela nakucala inyanga yeNgongoni eminyakeni lophelile.
Ayiripoti emaphoyiseni. Kwiripota wami nabo befike bayibuka basho ukuthi imoto yahulumeni. Wabe sefika lo mnikazi wayo hamba kakhulu nayo ingala number plate.
Lisekela lamabhalane lomkhulu letiko letemfundo Constance Vilakati uthi litiko liyayisebenta lendzaba yale moto njengalokhu lo mshayeli beyakazi abashaye ngemfiphinziwe.
Indlela leyafika ngayo ke umshayeli bekenda nje umsebenzi lo normal. Unfortunately yase iphelelwa ngegasoline. Kwadzingeka ke ukuthi abufune indzawo lethutana ibeke lapha ngoba kusesikolweni la ikhona khona. Kuthi at least ingato vandalize. Ithina seyisele lapha satholele lift ke. Kwase sekuba nenkinga ke sekuphinze kumisplaceka lesikhiya sayo. Kungako ngathi seyihleli lichi lapha besizazama nalokuthi ke naye akalikhuluma iqiniso ekucaleni nakwendeka. Thina we had the information ukuthi imoto solo ise-City A. Kanti kusho ukuthi beke saba lokusho ukuthi imoto seyulahlekelwe isikhiya. Angeke nje driver naye simiyekele kalula kanjalo. Setapha ikomiti lelitazamela kusitholela ema-facts around the car. Mhlawumbe sesekuvile la sitshela kona but nje ke I think kuyathusa lokuthi vele seyihlile isikhathi lesithe lapha so angeke siyiyekele malula.
Le moto lelihlobo le-Isuzu double cab unayithengwe esitolo ibita imali engu-200,000 kodwa kungamanje bekusola ukuthi ingabita imali efika kubo-20,000 emalangeni. Tindzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla navuma inkosi inzinisa sisesiphoxosini.
Tindzaba temidlalo umengameli wenhlangano lengamele umdlalo we-netball lapha eVeni Ntombi Masango uthi noma live lingakakhoni ukuthola lithikithi lekungenela indzebe yemhlaba ye-netball letawubanjelwa eVeni lase-South Africa edolobheni ye-Cape Town eminyakeni losetulu mhla ka-28 enyangeni yaKholwane kute kube ngumhla ka-8 enyangeni yeNgci. Kodwa kungenela imidlalo yema-qualifiers kusite live kutsi linyuke kuma-World Netball Rankings njengoba lihleti endzaweni yama-29 29 bese kuthi ku-SADC live lisendzaweni yesikhombisa.
Ngaphumeleli kwethu kube ukuthi asikaphumeleli but nje silive sijabulile ngendlela i-team yethu leyadlala ngayo because we were not ranked before le netball lema-qualifiers for more than 5 years bekude i-activity lebenayo i-national team but we managed ukuthi nasibuya sivele sishayele nje ngeligalelo lelikhulu sikhona ukuthi sirenkeke sibe in position 29. Kusijabulisa kakhulu lokho ngoba kunemave lebekavele achubeka adlala singekho thina sisehlathini ngasho njalo but lesibuye sathi siwashayile singetulu sing29 so kulomnyaka sinema African Championships Uganda but ke singakafiki lapho besifisa lokuthi singathi phakamisa irank yethu ngekuthi mhlambe sende bo tri nations in preparation for the tournament lenkulu so we're still working on that ukuthi sibukwe semavila advudane ngokungatoba expensive kithi ngendaba tetimali but kube sekudlala under world netball basilethele ama-officials abo so that way sitawukhona ke kurenka nje ne-performance yethu ngiyacabanga ukuthi e-Uganda itafike ibe ngilejabulisa
Dalo wenhlangano yabonompempe lapha eveni Jabulani Motha uthi sebavele banato tinhlelo tekusita bonompempe ikakhulukazi bonompempe lababomake ukuthi bangahlukubeteki nabadlalisa imidlalo. Motha uthi leti inhlelo tiphinze tibasite ukuthi bative bakhululekile bangatisoli ngetincumo labatithathako nakuchubeka imidlalo. Motha uvete lokhu kulandzela lokuvelako kulamanye emave evekatini le-Afrika kuthi bonompempe lababomake bayahlukubeteka ngesikhathi badlalisa imidlalo.
Kunama-programs lapha ekhathi ama-programs lawake-Olympics Committee latawusi lama-programs abayebhakha abafika ukuthi noma ngabe bayethuwa malana basale kotayela ukuthi ukufana nokuba semfuleni letinhlangano kungemali kakhulu bazame ukuthi lama-programs abakhe ukuthi bafocus kuloko labakele e-ground. Siyabanika ke association ukuthi nawe e-ground one kufanele ukuthi ihloniphiwe nakuqala referee. Number two, uhloniphe ama-teams. Uhloniphe nalabantu lababukela lebhola. Labantu lababukela lebhola nabo kufanele bahloniphe. Nalama-teams ahloniphe kanjalo. So sonke sidlala iqhaza. Sonke sidlala iqhaza ukuthi kusile ibhola yethu yokuqhubeka ibe legal. Siyi-Referees Association siyayifundisa kakhulu inhlonipho. Bathi ihlonipho ngokuvela kwethu and bayawulandzela imithetho lebhalwe phasi lebhalwe FIFA.
27 minutes after 6 siyatephetsa tindzaba tethu talo muhla sitawutsatsa simo selitulu sisaya khona etimakethe.
Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni per month. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store. We're good together.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Asimizele sinimukele sikuvusele nawo losanza kusivulela besivedele ukuthi sida besikhulumisana na Broadcasting Services Manager ebandleni lelengamele dekuchumana kuleli Eswatini Communications Commission. Leli bandla ke ngilona libandla lelengamele dekuchumana kuleli liyeke libambe liconduct ke regular inspections of broadcasters facilities kubukisisa ukuthi ngabe vele mhlambe basahambisana nema standards kanye nama requirements yini vele. Eminyakeni nje 2021 ne-2022 leli bandla likhonile ukuthi liconducte ama-inspections wo onke ama-licensed broadcasters kubuka ukuthi ngabe vele mhlambe baya-comply bese-ke kuba ne-report levedile emva kwale exercise inspection exercise levedile ukuthi kube ne-slight improvements from ama-results la obtained during the previous reporting period. The results of the inspection showed compliance scores ranging from a minimum of 26.5% to a maximum of 79.4%, which was an improvement from the 2020-2021 scores, which ranged between a minimum of 26.5% to a maximum of 76.5%. Emhlekiseni-ke sabe sikhulumisana naye Babe Vusikama Khumalo, Long Broadcasting Services Manager ka-Eskom, lanzeleka ukuthi bebanemhlangano sikolwa nje viki leliphelile kanye nakuleli viki lapho bebahlanganise khona ama-broadcasters lapha ekhaya Eswatini ukubacecesha nekubuka ukuthi ngabe vele mhlambe basa-broadcaster ngelizinga lelifanele imvele. Babekhumala sekuveselele emhlekiseni siyabonga ukuthi uvukile. I think mhlambe singakangeni nje kuyolo training, I think kungaba kuva nje kusichazela ukuthi ngabe vele mhlambe ithini vele mandate yenu as Eskom nanibuke tindzaba teku-broadcaster.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu Tsatsewethu sivusele nebabukeli be-Eswatini TV. I-commission vele inemsebenzi omkhulu ubuka le industry nje ya telecommunications yaka postal bese kuba yona ne-broadcasting. Angisho ukuthi emgomeni wayo ikakhulu ngala broadcasting kuyilawo la i-broadcasting ibuke ukuthi konke kuhamba kahle yini kusakatwa ngendlela lengiyo yini usakatwa ngelizinga lelifanele yini siphinde sibuke Tsatsewethu ukuthi emazinga ekwenta tintfo ngilawo lasedulwini lapho nasibona khona ukuthi khona ngathi kunesikhebe sikhona i-commission ke inawo lamandla lokuthi ingase seyithola ke labangacecesha la ngathi kushoda khona.
Okay, kuma sesibuka nje yona le training Babekhumalo benihlangene nabo ama-broadcasters lapha even lonke, and nangibuka i-annual report yenu yeminyaka wa 2022 iyavela ukuthi vele kukhona ama-gaps leniwabonile ngendlela basakata ngayo. Kume kusilansisa nje ngawo lo mlandvo wale training nekubuka nje ukuthi vele kahle kahle letikhala lentibonile kube ngidiphi.
Ngiyabonga Tsatsewethu. Kusho ukuthi angisho ukuthi lokunye lekwenda ke-commission kubida lemisakato kuhlalwe phasi kuviwe ukuthi ngabe kusetshenzwa njani ka-broadcasting, kuviwe netikhala ukuthi ngabe yini tikhalo letikhona. Sakwenda nje lokho eminyakeni lemithathu lengcile la kwaba khona ke nembhukudu lwaphuma ngathi phecelezi i-report lapha ke vele sasingakabithi imisakato yodwa kanye nalabo labakhathi inhlelo. Utawukhumbula ke ukuthi kule minyaka nalephelile nje kube khona la kucecishwe khona labakhathi inhlelo bakubona ukuthi kwentekile lokho kwakhishwa ngileya board nekuthi ke siceceshile futhi bonjinela ngikhumbula kahle emahlandla azaba mathathu nakhona kwaba leyo board leyasitshela ukuthi naku la kushoda khona. Kwaphindze ke kwabonakala ukuthi nabo basakade la vele baphala khona la embi kwempopho kukhona la kushoda khona. Siyaye sibe futhi nekusisihlangana nje nama-broadcasters yinye nayinye nje emsakato nakhona sithenya sisahlangana ke nalabe misakato kwatholakala ukuthi kukhona nabo labathi ukuthi baciniseke khona laba sakatabo. So lokhu kuceceshwa bekukhona nje kulamaviki kusuka kuleli viki leliphelile kwaba ngulowo mphumela loyo sibona ukuthi bayasho nabo sikhola kushoda khona ke i-commission nayo yaseke seyithi cha asibatholele ke lokuceceshwa bekukhona.
Yes, njengoba bengivedile nje Babekhumalo lokuthi le annual report iphindze ivetena lokuthi kube nale slight improvement. I think manibuka nje umnyaka wa 2020 na 2021 nasithi nje le slight improvement yini lena mhlambe lesithi yinhle noma leshintshile labayilungisile labasakatako.
Ngiyabonga tsatsethu. Angithi ke lokhu kwe si commission vele sinikiwe lo mgomo lokuthi sibukeni ukuthi kusebenzeka kahle ngathi monitoring. Kusho ukuthi njalo nje emva kwetinyanga letinzathu siye sivakashele umsakato ngamunye kuneti tintfo ke lesingathi sidibhale phasi ukuthi kumele ba comply kuto. Lokunye lesiya sikubuke nje sibuke ukuthi tikhona yini indlela yokuthi nangabe babukeli noma balaleli banetikhalo batenta kanjani ngasi phecelezi bathendlisha kanjani tikhalo ngoba lapho kufuna ube nelibhuku lelishoko siyakubuka ke lokho nangabe ude noma unako uthola le point. Siphindze sibuke lokunye ukuthi ema records uyawagcina yini. Ngiyabekisa nje ema records lafuneka ukuthi nangabe kufika isikhalo usibhalaphi siyakubuka lokho. Nangabe mhlawumbe nakulungiswa le equipment niyawona nema records naso inema schedules ama recruitment and schedules onke lokho siyakubuka. Siphindze sibuke ukuthi le stage si protected kanjani ikhona insecurity siyakubuka konke lokho uthola ama points. Siphindze sibuke ukuthi gezi wakho lo station u protected yini uethe kahle yini ngoba phela kusebenza abantu kufuna babe protected konke lokho siyakubuka. Siphindze sibuke imigomo ngasho njalo ama policies lathi lasho ukuthi kulama guidelines kufuna ube ne policy yakho yabo ukuthi stage sakho access kanjani ngenanjani station sakho ikhona yini le policy le ikhona yini policy i-religious policy ngiyabekisa ikhona yini i-policy ye-content ukuthi i-content inhlelo buya ngephandle uthendlisha kanjani akhona yini ama standards ukuthi wena nawo usakata nje usakata ngama standards lathini lama guidelines ke ayasho lokuthi each sonke stage kufuna sibana lemigomo leyo bese ke iwaletha commission itwaphasisa nemigomo yetindzaba sithi indzaba uthendlisha kanjani nayo. So sibuka lokho nangabe unako kusho ukuthi ke uthole ama points. Angisho nje ukuthi kulamalangana laphelile imisakato leminyenti iwilethile lemigomo i-commission ke sayibuka ke ngikhathi ke aseseyayiphasisa ngolo bese sokhana sisekubeke nalo improvement leyo. Siphindze sibuke ne content ukuthi le content ngoba le content lo yisakatako leyakho lakha ingakanani leqhamuka ngaphandle ingakanani. Sibekile nje ukuthi i-content ikakhulu la ekhaya ka television leqhamuka kuma independent producers kumele ibe nge-70%. Lebuya ngephandle kumele ibe nge-30%. Konke lokho siyakubuka nangabe ke ugabathele nakhona siyajabula nangabe ke ungephasi kusho ukuthi ke vele percentage yakho itawehla.
Yes, seseke nje le content bakhumula ngekhumbula vele lokuthini libandla vele at some point nikena igcizelele indaba ukuthi akukhicidwe vele lokwala ekhaya vele kakhulu kungene kona la ku TV ingavele mhlambe lishintsho vele seniyalibona yini vele kulokuthi vele no sekukhona nakulamanye nje ama broadcasters lokuthi lo content seniyayibona yini vele kakhulu.
Ngasho tsatsethu ukuthi ukwaba khona umehluko eminyakeni lemibili kepha ke ngiyathink ke kulesifo lesike saba khona se-COVID kwase kuyehla kepha ke siyathemba ukuthi imisakathi itawuphindze ibuyele iphakame letinhlelo letakho la khaya ngoba phela ngitona tenda ukuthi bantu umsakato bawubukele ngoba phela kudlalwa lokhu kwabo so sicikuta lokho nathi kube kusicala lokwala khaya kube kuncane lokubuya ngephandle.
Okay. Inenzaba ye-standard nayo babekhuluma ngicansi nayo ebalekile, and I think it's one of the things lentibukako ukuthi yes lokho content mhlambe singaba nayo, but nale standard naso sibalekile ukuthi lelizinga lalo mkhicito lesokicitako usezingeni elifanele imvele. Ingabe kuleto tindzaba leto nje nasibuka nje onke broadcasters la Eswatini nasibuka nje standard sesifikile kulelo zinga lelo ukuthi vele singakhona kecitana nokuthi nabomakhelwane mhlambe nabana abafisa ukuthatha ungwecidi wethu bangawukhona ukudlala noma mhlambe kusesekhona lapho kushoda khona.
Ngiyabonga thathe wethu. Angisho ukuthi i-commission nalapho izamile kulamanye lama tinhlelo betikhona la kwakhulunywa khona ngawo ema standards. Siyalibona lizinga liya ngokukhula kancane kancane. Angibekise nje ithinsekile indzaba ye-standard kulocecesha bekhona kuleli viki naleli viki leliphelile ikakhulu ngala ngasemsakatweni wemoya. Kuvelile lokuthi kukhona standard lekumele ukuthi sisetshenziswe. Sikhanzile ukuthi umsakato wethu usasebenzisa nasi sekuthiwa ngema MP3s mhlawumbe batawatike labalalelo music kakhulu ema MP3 ukuthi asho ukuthi kusho ukuthi leyo format leyo ye MP3 itholakala kakhulu ku internet. Yadalelwa ngasho njalo kakhulu i-internet because yona le file lakho la ngisho ukuthi lincishisiwe. But ke kukhona ke lesinye lesifuneka vele ukuthi imsakato isebenzise bathi ke i-wave format. Kusho ukuthi leyo ke format leyo lenganciphiswa ngathi compressed. Ayikanciphiswa vele nje lifile lelikhulu leline quality lesezingeni lelisetulu. So ke kuvelile ukuthi akazame imisakato yemoya ukuthi iye kuleso standard leso. Ngoba udakwanza ukuthi ke naleli zinga lekusakata kutabangelo lelikahle. Ngiyajabula nje ukuthi kuona emsakatweni umoya wesive i-BIS sebaqalile vele ba drafte nje ipolicy yabo lokuthi bata adopta lesi standard se wave. Kepha ke akusho ukuthi ke nangabe kune information le critical ingathi imcoka kakhulu ngeke usamsebenzisa lo MP3 ngoba kuyenteka ukuthi kukhanda sile information kude labo ungayithola khona. Kepha ke nangabe ikhona lekhona ungayisebenzisa but nje vele akufuneka so tinhlelo takho tonke utatirana nga MP3 baze babekisa nje la bekunene labafundisako laba se kubomakhelwane South Africa basho ukuthi nawubuka na ingoti lendeka America nga 2001 lapho kwakusebenziswa amateur video ema camera etincingo betingakasi professional kangako at that time, but they used that information kusakata kuyo yonke umsakato beyikhona kulelo live ngalokho ke bekuyi information bokude labo ungayithola khona kanti it's of public interest. So nalapha ke ka radio sisho njalo ukuthi i-MP3 ayisetshenziswa nangabe kunetinkinga, but ke sisebenzisa lo wave format lo nangu lo nelizinga lelisetulu.
Baba Khumalo sovile ukuthi one of ma topics leni wathi ngitsile nje kule training ngiye topic ye standard kumbe kusiniketa nje sithomise ukuthi mhlambe letinye inhlangothi lentithinzile kulomhlangano kube ngitiphi nekuva nje uvele ubaleke kangana nje vele lomhlangano lokuthi ihlanganise ama licensed broadcasters la Eswatini.
Ngiyabonga futhi thatha wethu ngisho ukuthi tingoni leti tsinze kakhulu tingoni te ukuthi now ufuna kwakha lihlelo ufuna wende njani ngathi pre-production kubukiwe lokho kwase kuyabukwa ukuthi naso lo akha lo lihlelo production yini lofuna ukwende nekuthi ke nekhulumisana njani nisatawa nakha lihlelo baze babekisa nje ukuthi ngalesinye isikhathi ukhanza ukuthi nawakha lihlelo encinye umnyango uvulekile estudio ukhanza ukuthi siqhamuka umsindo lobuya ngephandle but lokho akafana sikwendeke ngoba sekutawu disturba naleli ku recordako so bekubuka tonke letinto letinjalo. Ngasho ukuthi futhi kube inhlanhla lenkulu thathe wethu ngoba i-commission ibe nekusita nakhona Eswatini Broadcasting Services la khona yathenga imachine yekurecord leli thuba ke libe khona silomshina ibe khona bayisebenzise abatsheleke babatshela abochwepheshe ukuthi kufuna bayisebenzise kanjani so kusho ngisho ukuthi bekunema practicals la bekhona nekuthi ke naso uhlanganisa la ku computer leli hlelo lihlanganisa kanjani naloko kube khona bakujabulela kakhulu ke basakati lokho.
Okay. Ngiyakholelwa nje baba ukhuluma ukuthi ngicabanga ukuthi beku interaction between nilibandla kanye nama broadcasters and babenayo imibuto phela futhi baveda nama challenges abo labahlangabetana nawo as basasakata. Ingabe vele mhlambe yini lokho laba kuvedile lokudikhalo noma mhlambe lokuma challenges ukuthi bakhona vele kumithala ama requirements leni wabeka kwa as Eskom.
Ngiyabonga sisi noma sikhasi lesinye ndibengekho khona kepha lo kunye nguvile nje basho lokuthi inkosi yami lesikhathi sale ukucicishwa sibe ngilesincane kakhulu nekuthi ke balijabulele lithuba lokuthi kube khona lokuceceshwa sekube lichi solo bangabi nako nekuthi ke bahlale nje babe kanye bahlephulelane lawo ma ideas ngoba besihlanu bonke labasakati bale msakato yemoya nestage bebakhona kepha ngasilonke into ungabeva ngako tsatsethu mhlawumbe ungaba invite nawe bathochasa.
Okay, but nje babukhumela ukuthi ngabe mhlambene what are you hoping to see in the broadcasting industry now that the training has been concluded?
Tsatsethu thine lesibheka kakhulu ukuthi lizinga lekusakata libele lesedulu ungathi na uvula siteshi lesinye ukhanze ukuthi leliphimbo lisedulu na uvula lesinye ukhanze ukuthi liphasi noma na uvula sabomakhelwane ukhanze ukuthi likahle noma linjani sifuna nje ukuthi na usuka ku BIS 1 uya BIS 2 uya ku VOC uya ku noma channel yeMaswati noma Eswatini TV ungabe so khanza ukuthi so uhlisa ivolume khanza sikonke nje kuhamba ne quality lefana na ngiko nje lesigadza kakhulu ngoba vele sesinayo lemshina ukuthi sikubuke lokuthi kuyendeka yini kusinespheceleti bakubita ngeloudness ngalesilungu sekune standard nje vele lesikhona lesisebenza kakhulu eEurope nathi kulamalanga vele sitas adopter bese siyakunaka lokho kwendeka kahle yini.
Okay, kume nje nasengasema ukuthelo nje babe khumala nasibuka nje standard semkhicido walabo labase labo momakhelwane nasibuka nephindze futhi nasibuka newethu ingabe vele mhlambe le standard sona sikanjani because I understand ukuthi kunabo bekunama facilitators la sokwakhona eSouth Africa bathi deni vele nababona emkhicido yethu.
Manje khuluma lo muntu kuba kulungi kepha ke bavetile ukuthi likhona la khaya likhulu futhi uze wathi lo mnye nasikhuluma naye hey bazothi laba engaze ngibathathe hambe nabo so ke likhona la khaya kepha nje ngilokulungisa lapha nalapha la ukhanza ukuthi ke leli singadaba khona ke lelisedulu otherwise itsatse wethu basakati bethu bakahle
no ngiyavakala sibonga kakhulu baba Khumalo kuba nathi lo mhlahlelo nobukeli bese sikhulumisana naye broadcasting services manager khona ka Eskom asiniketa nje simiseko ukuthi i-training lapho bebahlanganisa khona ama licensed broadcasters uhambe kanjani badvedile ke nabo dikhalo dabo baphinze kwathinyithwa netindzaba letibalekile tindzaba tema policies naletinye tindzaba sibahlele temarket sithabuya sizochubeka nehlelo.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
I do the most. Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni per month. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store. We're good together.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Asiphenze sinamukele siqeza khulumisana naye lapha Vusikama Khumalo long broadcasting services manager ka Eskom besoke bacuba i-training lapho khona bebacecesha ama licensed broadcasters babuka nje Donatinza batekubaleke ukuthi ingabe vele mhlambe basasebenza ngelizinga lelifanele invelele kukhicita leyo mkhicito loyo bathi bukeleke netinza bade ama standards ukuthi ngaba vele mhlambe naso standards bayasibuka yeni ukuthi singile standard lesifanele.
Yeah. And Lulu, I think another thing that is interesting and very much well notable in Zabeka ukuthi sibabonile na itolo as Eskom but they tell us on a stage Eswatini TV equipment, broadcasting equipment under the Universal Access Fund. It's big because now khumbula ukuthi nabayichaza yona the Universal Fund basho lo ukuthi it seeks to ensure that all eMaswati have access to quality internet broadcasting and postal services at affordable prices throughout the country. Nasibuka ke le aspect ya broadcasting, they have quality access to broadcasting. This indeed does ensure ukuthi logo kuyafezeka. Over 1 million donation of equipment by Eskom to Eswatini TVs khuluma emakamera la khicita sithombele sihle mbamba nanje phinze Vusikama Khumalo siyambona abantu bamtsala bayakhona kulomsebenzi itolo. Nawubuka le machine lena lungelele imishini lesingasho ukuthi besikhonyana lesikhebesi la station just from the inside looking out. We know la station the resources that we need. I've been a journalist myself. Emakamera besikhanza ukuthi abakhona ama shortages, so singasho ukuthi this was very much needed and into lesiyibonga kakhulu nama microphones siyabona nema switcher akhona. Sicabanga ukuthi with these donations sitawukhona ukuthi sichubeke sikhicite yona equality in terms of broadcasting, so nje sitolo silibonga kakhulu lo from Eskom.
Yeah, sathamba ukuthi ngayo le machine lena sifisa ukuthi wahamba nje ngawo lo mgomo wabo ba Eskom ukuthi bafuna ukuthi lesikhicite i-content lesezingeni. So with this equipment sathamba ukuthi konke kutawube sekwendeka ngemumo standard taba ngileso lesezingeni elifanele. Yeah, kungekutahamba kahle sibanga konje kulo libandla Eskom usinikelela ngaleyo equipment ya 1.2 million emalangeni. Asibahlethe market nasibuya sitawubuya ne traffic update.
Lesi sikhathi lapho khona emaphoyisa agubha kuba khona kwawo even. Kulapho kukhuthathwa khona sive ukuthi sike sihlale phansi sibuke bomcoka bemaphoyisa empilweni yabantu. Siphindze sibuke indlela letinsha tekuphepha kubo bonke bucala lobuveta sihloko. Sive sakangwane siyakhunjutwa ukuthi singawafaki emaphoyisa etinkulumeni tepolitiki ngoba liphoyisa alingeni futhi alingenelani nepolitiki. Emaphoyisa alwa nebucala netingoti temgwaco kuphela nje. Ingako emaphoyisa athi wonke umuntu eveni akahlale ngaphandle kwekunceneka ukuthi angahle ahlaselwe tilwane tasendle. Umuntu lohlala eSwatini akatiphilele atisebentele ngaphandle kwekwesaba kuhlaselwa kwemucwa nekucekelwa phansi kwembahla yakhe. Nawe wena lophathekile emaphoyisa athi digulele kahle uze uphile ngaphandle kwekuphathamiseka. Lokungenteka ngekuthi tidlova tingene tihlasele labo labakunakekelako kuleyo ndlu. Sive lesihlakaniphile Nguleso lesiphakamisa kusebenta kwemaphoyisa nabo bonke labalwa nebucala. Ngale kwaloko timbungushe tiyawuwangenela emazinyane kungenamuntu ekhaya. Lo mlayeto niulethelwa ngemaphoyisa embube abambisene nomsakato wetithombe.
Welcome back. It's 5 minutes before 7 o'clock. Lesikhathi sidabuka simo semigwaqo na Sergeant Gula sekuvusela amakhobani lomhla ekuseni kuhambeka kanjani emigwaqweni yelive.
Kuthiwa ngomntwako nguvusele ekuseni ngalokho khethekile ngivusele naye umbukelo walolu hlelo. Sivuka sinenkungu etindzaweni letiphakeme yebo lehambisana nemkhemetelo. Lokho ke kuyawusho ukuthi ke imigwaqo iyabonakala kunako kuba mandi. Sikhumbude sikhuthate kumshayeli ukuthi nciphisa lidubane lakho khanyisa emalambo ngeda umgamo wokulandzela lenye imotolo ube ngilolo phephile loyawenda ukuthi awukhona kulawula imotolo yakho lapho kunesimo ongakasigazi khona le nkungu ke lesikhuluma ngayo etindzaweni letiphakeme ibonakala ikhansa phansi sibili lenda ke ukuthi sigcizelele kakhulu kumshayeli ukuthi asinake kwathise ukuthi etindzaweni letiningi njengasekhaya edolobheni laseMbabane nje ke awukubonakala impela kumnyama sibili kanti ke kunebafundi labaningi labaphithela kweceleni kwemigwaqo kanti ke nasibuka wona emadolobha ethu ekhaya edolobheni laseMbabane tisebenta kahle tibane tethu noko ke nasiya staladi sethu lesingomhlolo lesisuka khona lapha kubo Spas beke khona lapha kubo Sandla solozivaliwe ke leso staladi leso kanjalo ke futhi naso staladi lesiya lapha esifundzane primary lapha Makhosini Avenue naleso staladi leso ke sivaliwe siyakhuthaza nje kakhulu bekunene ukuthi kubo bafundi lababheka khona lapha esifundzane noma ke batali abamisa bona abantwana asendeke isiqiniseko sokuthi ke awusiyawuhamba etindzaweni leti yawubonakala noma ke lesinikete tona ukuthi singasebenzisa kwesikhashana nekokuthi ke bekunene singede usikhathi lapho kuvaleke khona imigwaqo isikhathi sakho sengede kuzokuthi ke khona ke kuhambeka ufike ngesikhathi kanti ke nawusuka khona lapha ekeni lasengwenya lapha eTulu umalagwane solo ukaneksile ke umbutho lapha ungaba kukhumbuta sona sive nje bekunene ukuthi siyacela siyakhuthaza lokho ukuthi usaya lapha kule cooling station nciphisa litubane lakho nekunaka ke ukuthi ke awube kunene vele esitaladi noma ke umzila longasenxele uvaliwe siyawusebenzisa wona ke umzila longasekudla kwendlula asenceke ngelitubane leliyabangilelo leliphansi sibili kanti ke lunye lihlangothi lapha indasi kumathapha edolobheni lakhona ibane letlapha elisoshana nawuqhamuka kubo Salt and Pepper noma bo Sundowners atisebenzi ke letho tibane leto kanjalo netibane lehlapha ecela ngwaka Star Paint kanti edolobheni lakaManzini nasiya staladi lesisuka lapha elichaga sibeke lapha bo Sydney Williams Kelly Street leso staladi leso solo sivaliwe kanti kumasala esikhundleni nawusoko lapha eStella House ubheka khona lapha elichaga kuleso staladi leso ngesenxele sakhona ikakhulu kade kuma parkings atsinzekile kulandzela ukuthi kuyagujwa lapha kulungiswa wona ke mapipe nakhona ke siyawucela ukuthi bashayele ngalokukhulu ukucophelela kulelo hlangothi lelo kanti ke kulesi sifunza kuyahambeka kukhumbuta nje sive ngayo ama potholes labonakala ke emigwaqweni nekugcizelela bekunene ukuthi ke asinake imfuyo nekuthi ke sinakane kwadise ukuthi nemthamo yemoto lemgwaqweni ubonakala ungiloyo setulo sibili sisinje la ukhona khona yena siqiniseko sokuthi uyayidlala inzima yakho ikakhulukazi kuthi singaba tekpepa nekuthi ke wena lohamba ngesinyawo ubona la uhamba khona uphinde futhi ubonakale kumshayeli wena siqiniseko ukuthi ke nawe wena lothutha sona sive leyo moto loyisebenzisako imoto lephilile uyawuphinze ulayishe nangelinani lelifanele sithi nje kube indlela lenhle sisabheka kakhona izindzawo ngokwashokahlukana nane endlela emsangato nelibandla labonjinela lobambisene nalo sinifisele ilanga lelihle naleliphephile nisawusebenzisa umgwaqo.
Asibonga kakhulu Sergeant Gule kusiniketala yombiko lomhla ekuseni 1 minute before 7 asithathe likhefu asibuya sibukata ngephandle kwakuleli.
your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Welcome back. It's 1 minute after 7. Let's take a look at international stories. Frigate winter weather gripped East Asia for the second straight day on Wednesday, causing several deaths and multiple injuries in Japan, and a scramble for flights out of South Korea's resort island of Jeju following delays by snowstorms.
Minus 53 degrees Celsius. This town in northern China has been experiencing record low temperatures for the past 3 days.
At 7 a.m., the temperature dropped to minus 53 degrees, which beats the record of minus 52.3 back in 1969.
The town has come to a standstill. To unfreeze the pipes, locals use boiling water or even blowtorches. The priority is to make sure inhabitants continue to access electricity and running water.
We're keeping emergency repair teams on standby around the clock with tankers full of hot water or equipped with generators.
Elsewhere in East Asia, temperatures have also been plummeting. Weather authorities in Japan and the Korean peninsula have issued warnings over freezing temperatures and gales. In Japan's Niigata province, heavy snowfall and strong winds have been wreaking havoc, blanketing towns in snow. Authorities say the next day or so could be bringing up to 60 centimetres more snow to the region, as the country faces its lowest temperatures in a decade.
Rwanda has fired on a Congolese military aircraft it alleges violated its airspace in a new escalation of tensions between the neighbors that has set off alarm across Central Africa. A Rwandan government statement said defensive measures were taken against a Sukhoi 25 from Congo on Tuesday evening, and it urged Congo to stop this aggression.
A deliberate aggression that amounts to an act of war. That's how Congolese authorities described Rwanda's attempt to shoot down a military aircraft near the city of Goma. Kigali said the plane, a Sukhoi 25 fighter jet, had violated its airspace, forcing it to take defensive measures. But Kinshasa firmly denied the accusation and slammed an unprovoked attack by its neighbor.
The government condemns and firmly denounces the attack on its fighter jet this Tuesday, the 24th of January 2023, by the Rwandan army within Congolese airspace.
Tensions between the two countries have soared in the past year, with the DRC accusing Rwanda of supporting a bloody insurgency in the country's east. An accusation which has been backed by the UN, France, and the US, but which Kigali has repeatedly denied. Yet in Goma, many residents appeared convinced of Rwanda's involvement in the conflict.
I think Rwanda has provoked us too much. They want to flex their muscles. If they want war, I think we should give them war, so they stop attacking us.
Since taking up arms in late 2021, the M23 has seized large swathes of territory in eastern DRC. Congolese and Rwandan leaders agreed to a ceasefire during a peace summit in November, but the M23 has since rejected the deal, saying it wasn't involved in the negotiations.
President Joe Biden announced the U.S. will send 31 Abrams battle tanks to Ukraine just hours after Germany said it will send 14 Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. The moves are part of a united effort to help Kyiv defend itself against invading Russian forces.
President Joe Biden entered the Roosevelt Room at the White House Wednesday, confirming media reports of new military assistance to Ukraine.
Today, I'm announcing that the United States will be sending 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine, the equivalent of 1 Ukrainian battalion. Secretary Austin has recommended this step because it will enhance the Ukraine's capacity to defend its territory and achieve its strategic objectives.
Biden's remarks came just hours after German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stood in front of Parliament to announce Berlin will provide 14 Leopard 2 tanks and open a path for other European countries to send tanks from their own stocks to Ukraine, with the aim of assembling 2 tank battalions with Leopard 2 tanks for Ukraine within the next several months. Scholz's announcement had been long awaited by Ukraine, Poland, the Baltic states, and others. The German leader said Berlin supports Ukraine, but made clear he does not want to provoke Russia.
Vertrauen Sie der Regierung, vertrauen Sie auch mir.
We must always make it very clear that we are doing what is necessary and what is possible to support Ukraine, but that at the same time we are preventing the war from escalating into war between Russia and NATO, and we will always continue to observe this principle.
Biden thanked Scholz, saying Germany has stepped up for Ukraine. The U.S. leader also noted the purpose of the tanks is to help Ukraine defend its own land.
There is no offensive threat to Russia. If Russian troops return to Russia, they'll be there where they belong. This war would be over today. That's what we all want, an end to this war in just and lasting terms.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had long been pleading for heavy tanks, saying it is not about 5, 10, or 15, but that Kyiv needs between 250 and 350 tanks. Military experts say the total number Allied countries have promised so far is about 90. In Moscow, Russia's foreign ministry has called any such decision dangerous and warned it will escalate the conflict. Cindy Sain, VOA News.
President Emmanuel Macron said on Sunday that France was still studying the possibility of delivering French-made Leclerc heavy tanks to Ukraine. As for the Leclercs, I have asked the Defense Ministry to work on it. Nothing is excluded, he said, but stressed that any effort to dispatch the hardware to help repel the Russian invasion should be decided and coordinated collectively with allies, including Germany.
Germany's unleashed its Leopards. Now all sights are trained on France. With Chancellor Olaf Scholz agreeing to the delivery of Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine, the US reportedly poised to send 30 of its M1 Abrams, and the UK providing 14 Challenger 2s, the pressure's on President Emmanuel Macron to send France's own main battle tank, the Leclerc.
I have asked the Defense Minister to work on this issue. Nothing is ruled out. It should not be escalatory, and we have always taken this approach. Secondly, it should provide real and effective support to our Ukrainian friends.
Among the government's reservations are that many Leclerc aren't in working order. Around half of its stock of 400 aren't fit for use, and another 50 are being upgraded. French forces will want to retain the majority for the defence of France, so are unlikely to give away more than a small quantity. For Yann Boivin, former commanding officer of a Leclerc squadron, this would still require significant logistical resources, so wouldn't be a good investment for the war effort.
It would be out of the question to deliver more than a squadron's worth of equipment, around 14 tanks. This wouldn't make a difference to the grand scheme of operations and wouldn't be an effective provision to the Ukrainian army.
The French government would also like the tanks to be used solely for defensive means, so as not to escalate tensions with Russia. Ukraine might well argue that any operation to stave off Russia's invasion would count as a defensive one.
Germany's Leopard 2, the powerful tank that Berlin has finally agreed can be sent to Ukraine, could provide a major boost for Kyiv's forces as they fight back against Russian troops. But the Ukrainians would need to be quickly trained up to use the tanks and to maintain them.
Its German manufacturer touts it as the world's leading battle tank. With a range of about 500 kilometers and top speeds of 68 kilometers per hour, the Leopard 2 is built to move quickly over a variety of terrain and confront enemy armor.
The German Leopard tanks have state-of-the-art equipment, and above all, they protect better with more effective armor. They're crucial for our survival.
They could also make a significant difference on the battlefield, replenishing Kyiv's aging tank fleet and adding to its capabilities. Its reputation is perhaps second only to the US-made M1 Abrams, but the Leopard has two distinct advantages. With its diesel gas turbine engine, it's a technology that's familiar to Ukrainian troops. And lots of them are already in Europe. 15 European armies, including Germany, Spain, Poland and Finland, currently have more than 2,000 vehicles in use or stored. The Leopard 2 could allow Ukraine to go onto the offensive after the stalemate of the last few months, although how many they receive is key. Western analysts suggest around 100 tanks would be required to have a meaningful impact on the fighting.
Former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence revealed Tuesday he had uncovered documents marked as classified at his home, the latest twist in a mushrooming scandal over politicians' handling of the nation's most sensitive secrets.
Traditionally, at handovers of power, there are photo ops and good wishes before the cameras, like here in 2016. While behind the scenes, aides are frantically packing up boxes and going through classified documents. After similar revelations concerning classified papers from Joe Biden's vice presidency, Mike Pence's lawyer sent a letter to the National Archives stating a small number of classified papers had been found at his Indiana home. With ongoing investigations into Biden and Trump potentially mishandling classified files, and the Department of Justice involved in the search of Pence's home, the Attorney General refused to comment on the latest find. And the White House spokesperson was also mum on the issue. But Republicans and Democrats alike are pointing fingers.
When Mike Pence found me, the first thing he did was provide him over. He's called Comer on the oversight and say, I want to work because I want to make sure this never happens again from any places. Unfortunately, the president, Biden, won't give us any information, and his is a little different.
For Democrats, it's Donald Trump's trove that stands out, with some 300 documents that were seized by the FBI after Trump refused to turn them over.
There's a huge difference between how the president handled it and how former President Trump handled it. One cooperated fully with the authorities, the other stonewalled for over a year.
While markedly different in the details, the added discovery of Pence and before it Biden documents complicates the perception of the ongoing criminal investigation into how Donald Trump handled documents after leaving office, all the while raising questions in both parties over how classified material is handled in the United States.
The U.S. Justice Department sued Google on Tuesday for its dominance of the online advertising market, launching a fresh legal battle against the California-based tech giant. The case was the second federal lawsuit against Google over alleged antitrust violations and the first since U.S. President Joe Biden took office 2 years ago.
A fresh legal battle for the California-based tech giant. The U.S. Justice Department, along with several states, have filed a lawsuit against Google, accusing it of monopolizing the online advertising market.
We allege that Google has used anti-competitive, exclusionary, and unlawful conduct to eliminate or severely diminish any threat to its dominance over digital advertising technologies.
The government alleges Google forced advertisers to use its products by making it difficult to use the competitors, as well as neutralizing or eliminating rivals through acquisitions. This includes the company's 2008 acquisition of DoubleClick, a dominant ad server, and AdMob in 2009. The tech giant's advertising business is responsible for roughly 80% of its revenues, generating a staggering $54.5 billion in the third quarter of last year. With the latest lawsuit, prosecutors are asking that Google break up its advertising segment from the rest of the company. Google's parent company Alphabet has responded that the lawsuit would slow down innovation and raise advertising fees. This marks the second major antitrust action against Google after a 2020 lawsuit over the company's alleged monopoly in online searches, a case which is scheduled to go to trial in September. Washington has frequently raised concerns about the tech giant's power, but has so far failed to pass new legislation or regulations.
Elon Musk returned to federal court to defend himself against a class action lawsuit that alleges he misled Tesla shareholders with a tweet about an aborted buyout that the billionaire defiantly insisted Tuesday he could have pulled off had he wanted. Musk, who also owns Twitter while continuing to run Tesla, spent much of Tuesday depicting himself while being questioned by his own attorney, Alex Spiro, as an impeccably trustworthy business leader capable of raising as much money as he needs to pursue his visions.
You know, because it's legal stuff. But I'm curious what you guys think.
We weren't listening.
Oh, okay.
The journalists may not be listening, but the plaintiffs in the class action Tesla tweet trial were. Elon Musk is in the dock in San Francisco for allegedly misleading Tesla shareholders, with a pair of tweets in August 2018 saying he was considering taking Tesla private, statements which caused the share price to soar and which slumped once he admitted days later the buyout wasn't going to happen. Musk in court was defiant, saying he could have pulled off the purchase had he wanted to. One analyst argues Musk has his work cut out to convince the court.
One of the issues is that the judge has already ruled that the tweets in question were false. And so one of the problems that the defense is going to have is they're going to have to essentially ask the jury to believe Mr. Musk and not to believe the judge.
The trial is expected to end in early February. One of Musk's arguments is that shareholders who held on to Tesla stock have done extremely well since 2018. His recent acquisition of Twitter, however, has seen the value of Tesla's shares fall by about a third. He has just announced an investment of $3.6 billion at Tesla's Giga Nevada facility to make electric trucks and new batteries. The maverick billionaire is accumulating financial and legal woes. His $44 billion purchase of Twitter has led to a wave of negative coverage. Advertisers have quit the website in droves. In the latest twist, Twitter is being taken to court for allegedly failing to pay rent on office space in San Francisco and in London.
Preliminary reports from an ongoing investigation into a December landslide that killed 31 people in Malaysia seem to indicate the area used as a farm and campsite was not zoned for agricultural, commercial, or recreational use.
What caused the terrible overnight landslide in December that killed 31 people at a campsite at Father's Organic Farm in the rural community of Batang Kali? The Malaysian government is expected to complete an investigation by the end of the month on the cause of the disaster and why a campsite and farm were developed below a steep slope that is downhill from a road built decades earlier.
It's not an appropriate place to do any kind of development. It's very steep, it's fragile terrain.
Tekwin Lim is an honorary associate professor of geography at the University of Nottingham, Malaysia. He's been studying satellite images of the landslide site going back almost 40 years. Using a small-scale slope, he explained what he thinks went wrong.
Long before there was a farm, they built this road. And in order to prevent a landslide onto the road, they took material from above the road and they placed it below the road. And eventually this material, this film material, became waterlogged and collapsed.
In a written statement, the Ministry of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change told VOA the Selangor State Environment Department approved an environmental impact assessment report in 2013 for the development of the Botanical Gardens Resort. But the ministry said the area in which Father's Organic Farm was built was assessed not to be suitable for commercial or recreational development.
Where the campers were sleeping, where 31 perished, were at least some of them sleeping in an area that was a no-go area. No farm was supposed to be there, no camping was supposed to be there.
From the initial reports that we got with regards to the data from the Department of Environment, it seems to suggest so, but to make final comments, I have to wait for the full report to be out.
VOA has asked the ministry repeatedly for the Environmental Impact Assessment Report, but so far has not received it. The government has also not answered questions from VOA regarding the ownership of the land on which Father's Organic Farm sits, or on its connection with the Malaysia Botanical Gardens Resort. Malaysia has a history of fatal landslides. In 1993, 48 people were killed when the Highland Towers apartment block collapsed in a landslide. In 1995, 20 people were killed when a landslide sent vehicles into a ravine. And in 1996, 44 people were killed after a mudflow struck their rural village.
Malaysia is a landslide-prone country. The reason being we have a lot of rainfall, plus we also have a lot of steep hilly terrain.
Hassandi Abdullah and Eriko Motoyama are part of Slope Watch, a volunteer group with almost 2,000 members across Malaysia who live in communities with steep slopes. Slope Watch started after a landslide on this hill in 2008 destroyed 14 houses and killed 5 people. Now the hill has a slew of slope drains and a retaining wall. Slope watchers inspect them regularly to try to prevent another disaster.
What we want communities to do is to monitor and watch out for signs of landslides. The other one is to report to the authorities. And number 3 is to engage in maintenance, maintain your slopes.
And this country knows all too well the consequences when safety is compromised. Dave Grunebaum for VOA News, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Oil drilling has begun in a Chinese-operated field in Uganda, and the East African country expects to start production by 2025. The spokesman for Uganda's Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, Solomon Muyita, said the beginning of drilling at the Kingfisher oil field in the Kukube district was a significant stride toward achieving commercial oil production.
New oil fields and a political minefield. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni launched a drilling campaign at the Chinese-operated Kingfisher oil concession on Tuesday in the Lake Albert area in western Uganda, noted for its biodiversity. Activists and opposition politicians have hit out at what they warn could be an ecological disaster.
We have no institutions that can really check the dangers that any oil industry can bring. And yet we know that the oil of Uganda is in a very delicate environmental area where we have a lot of other public interest, natural, environmental assets.
Also in Lake Albert is the Tilenga 1 and 2 projects operated by energy giant Total Energy. All 3 are expected to be running by 2025. They're set to produce over 200,000 barrels of oil per day, transported by the East African crude oil pipeline, expected to be the longest pipeline in the world. This $10 billion mega project has been plagued by accusations of human rights abuses and was dealt a further blow in September when the European Parliament passed a resolution condemning it. Total Energy denies the allegations.
This project is a major development for Uganda and Tanzania, and we are doing our utmost to ensure that it is exemplary in terms of transparency, shared prosperity, economic and social progress, sustainable development, and protecting the environment and human rights.
Total Energy says the construction phase of the projects will generate nearly 80,000 direct and indirect local jobs.
In a bid to ease dependence on Russian energy and come up with new, cleaner fuels, Spain is pioneering the use of olive pits to make aviation fuel. The first flight took off from Seville in November.
At the World Economic Forum in Davos last week, Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, said that there is no time to waste in transitioning to a clean energy economy.
In less than 3 decades, we want to reach net zero. In less than 3 decades, we have to reach net zero.
The aviation industry is often cast as a villain in the fight against climate change. The International Civil Aviation Organization says that by the mid-2030s, no fewer than 200,000 flights per day are expected all over the world. Greener fuel is the only way for airlines to meet global carbon emission targets. An initiative in Spain is tapping into organic waste from olive pits to make sustainable aviation fuel.
We have in Andalusia 25% of the world's olive groves, which means we have a high amount of production. So here, logically, there is much interest in being able to take advantage of all this biomass to be able to transform it into these biofuels and into other products as well.
In a pilot project with biofuel maker Cepsa, 200 flights from 6 different airlines using 4.5% biofuels derived from olive pits and other vegetable waste made commercial flights from the Seville airport in late November. Research is underway to come up with similar fuels for cars that will require no significant changes in automotive technology, allowing the fuel to power vehicles already on the roads today.
We are going to try to obtain from biomass the biofuel that is most similar to the one we have now in such a way that we have to make as few changes as possible, and we can use this biofuel as quickly as possible directly in transport or in cars.
Fossil fuels used in Spain are almost entirely of foreign origin, which means the incentive to develop biomass technology is great. The prospect of converting olive waste into fuel and other products, such as construction materials, could boost the economy and also create new jobs in a region of the EU with one of the highest rates of unemployment. For Alfonso Beato in Seville, Marcus Harton, VOA News.
The only place in their village where they could find a strong mobile internet signal, a windswept hill on the barren steppe, Ukrainian 5th grader Mykola Dioba and his friends have built a makeshift tent to serve as a remote classroom.
They've been out of school since September 2022, just weeks before their village was recaptured from Russian occupation by Ukrainian forces. With schools still closed, their will to continue learning is stronger than ever. Mykola and his friends sit in a makeshift classroom hidden behind a water tower on top of a hill, the only spot with internet connection near their village, Hontarivka.
We come here and sit for 2 to 3 hours. Sometimes we only sit here for an hour. When it got cold recently, it wasn't too great, so we didn't want to sit around for long. 1 hour was the maximum.
The 10-year-olds built the tent themselves with plastic sheets, wooden poles and sand found in their homes and nearby farms.
I brought my own plastic sheets from our makeshift house. We also brought ropes from a farm.
The tent attracted more classmates who also came to learn, listening to lectures sent by their teachers and sending assignments back and forth via messaging apps. The teachers were impressed at the children's enthusiasm for learning, despite their classrooms still being closed.
I was really in awe of the children. I didn't expect them to create something like this. We did forward them workbooks, told them some things, forwarded lessons and materials. Thanks to the internet, however bad it might be, we can communicate with the children.
With no internet in the village for months on end, adults occasionally come to the hill in hope of catching 3G to reach out to their families. But for these boys, their tent remains a sanctuary to which they go to every day.
In Tunisia, the Amazigh, an indigenous ethnic group present in North Africa for thousands of years, officially represents only a tiny minority of the country's population today. The post-independence constitution prioritized Tunisia's Arab and Muslim identity, and the education system excluded the Amazigh language. But in the mountains of the country's south, the Amazigh culture and language are still surviving.
In the highlands of Ras El Oued in Tunisia's south, this whitewashed cave house known as a troglodyte dwelling was built by an Amazigh family in the 1940s. Their descendants, Jezi and El Hedi, are a retired couple who still live here.
This key is very old. It dates to 1942 or 1948.
The design of the house, built directly into the mountain, creates natural air conditioning.
When it's cold outside, here it's warm, and when it's hot outside, here it's naturally cool.
Jezia works with wool to create burnous, a traditional warm cape.
I learned to do this when I was young. We buy coats, but this method is better. At least it's 100% wool and keeps you warm. It's an Amazigh tradition to do this all by yourself.
This ancient Amazigh tradition is at risk of disappearing since the couple's children left this traditional way of life behind long ago. They moved on because of a lack of local jobs or infrastructure. Nearby, another village in the mountains lies completely abandoned. Over the years, many families have migrated to cities. We meet Khadija in Tatooine. She still uses age-old techniques to make margoum, patterned rugs traditionally made for Amazigh weddings.
The patterns on the rug come from the tattoos our grandmothers have. The eye protects us from temptation. The fish, this pattern, which represents chastity.
Khadija sells her rugs at fairs and passes on her skills to other women of the family, knowledge about traditional wedding clothes, jewelry, and the Amazigh language which she speaks. This handing down of tradition by family is the only way to preserve a neglected heritage.
In other North African countries like Algeria or Morocco, the Amazigh-speaking community is bigger, so the state recognizes and appreciates the identity. They even teach Amazigh in certain schools. But here we're really a minority, there's no effort.
In recent years, civil society groups and social media have helped raise awareness of Amazigh ways to other Tunisians. Miriam is counting on this visibility to spark a revival of troglodyte houses. She's hoping to restore the site as a tourist attraction.
Let's take a break. Nasibuya Data Protection Act.
Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store. We're good together.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Welcome back. Bwana muhle kulesikhatsanya lo sitawubuka nje sipichi sa CEO waka Eskom naba sipha ema presentations our donation ya 1.2 million lobuya kwe Universal Access Service Fund.
ukuthi nje-ke tibukeli lababukele emakhaya vele nabo bathokode. Le presentation-ke yanamhla ekuseni ayisiyo nje-ke ukuthi kumbe yinto le engathi ngesilungu i-once off kunyenti lesisatawubambisana ngako kakhulu kungasiyo yodwa Eswatini TV cishe yonkana nje imiswakado lekhona eveni nane ukuthi nje iphupho lethu ukuthi sibe nayo i-independent production house la wonke umuntu atawukhona kusebenza and ama-programs lasezingeni elisedulu. Kuleyo nje-ke sisakhulumisana nidelive letinye kuzothi sikhone kubambisana sigcine siyakhile le content hub lesifuna kuyenza. Kule gala la ithike le Universal Access and Service strategy esetikwa sonje sa 21 to 2024 kulokunye vele sifuna kwenda ngibona lokuthi siphakamise izinga la dodaka broadcasting ukuze kuthi phela live leMswati nalo gama efene kubonakala ukuthi nathi siyakwati usebenza lemisebenzi ye-broadcasting. Kunjalo nje ke na Eswatini TV iphakamisa lezinga nalabo bemabhizinisi sibheke ukuthi sebatawukwana negunya ukuthi cha asengihambe ngiyawadvertise Eswatini TV sekuthi nawo imali ingene esiteshini njengoba nje sathi sonke ukuthi kuyakhalwa ngalana ngala ukuthi imali ayibonakala. Lokunye ngicabanga ukuthi sive sitawukhumbula ukuthi evekini lephelile nje besi cala lenye training yawo ama-broadcasters ikakhulu laba presentabo ukuthi nabo ngamane bathi caca kulamakhono ekupresenta lapho-ke besibuke tona tema-scripts ne-production nje ama-program khona ka-TV nasemsakatweni. Asikakhethi indlu wekhasini sikumbe sithi sitawubuka Eswatini TV nyakeni lophelile nje sike sawubambisa i-BIS lala nayo esikhalethi equipment yayo ngathi ayisekho ezingeni elifanele sayibambisa nayo kwentela babonga nayo ministry yakithi yabonga kakhulu ukuthi siyibambise kulolu hlangothi. Namhla ke le timpahla lesithula ko tinganga 1.2 million emalangeni vele sesitawulela kulimlangeni nalo bongana nje ba Eswatini TV ukuthi na equipment isibheke ukuthi iphathe njengengilazi ukuthi njengemntwana lo uthandwa kwekhaya singakhandi sebancane kumbe sekuthiwa kune-equipment eseyimile etinyawo noma equipment eseyilimele ibiyintsha sitawucela vele ukuthi imane niyiphathe kahle le-equipment nathi akusho ukuthi sinemali etinyeni sekuthi nje sithi yawo ngalesinye isikhathi imoto hayi ngabe ingathi ayisafuna ukuhamba uyasida ukuthi uyi-kickstart into zingaseyithi-ke into uyayithola i-momentum ichubeke ihambe iyembili. Nathi-ke kulithemba ukuthi lokuyibambisa esiteshi itawuba ngathi naso vele sichubeke sidlondlobale.
Right, benguye loyo mphathi walo libandla Eskom Mvela Mambidlamini nakathula nje inkulumo yakhe ngesikhathi kuhlangene umsakazo Eswatini TV kanye nalo libandla ngesikhathi basiniketa equipment worth 1.2 million emalangeni. I think uvetile nje lokubalekile ukuthi itawusetela equipment ukuthi nawo umsakazo nawo ukhona ukukhipha i-content lesezingeni lelifanele. Abathi bacelele ukuthi le equipment iphathe kahle asiko ukuthi nabo mhlambe banayo imali kepha-ke ukubambisa kusibambisa nje sesiteshi umsakazo Eswatini TV.
Yeah, and I think another notable thing nje la iveta kumlangeni ngiyenza-ke ukuthi masikhicita yona le quality if a broadcast involve quality, we do compare companies and brands ukuthi bete la msebentini beta ufuna ku advertiser ngoba phela we do have kuba commercial nathi singeSwatini TV, and I think that's going to help siteshi kakhulu in terms of income generation siteshi ukuthi sikhona sibe self sustainable siteshi sethu. So it is a very big deal lesipho lesilapha siphe sona siteshi seSwatini TV. Manje kulesikhatsanyalo setawuba ke naye CEO umphathi wethu lapha esiteshini abe Andreas Dlamini uma abeka emagama akhe kubonga sona sipho lesiqhamuka khona ka Eskom ake sesimuke.
Umgomo wethu Eswatini TV ukuthi simane sibe yi-center ye-family ukuthi umuntu nakashayisa emsebenzini labaphuma esikolweni ekhaya bathi ukuthi sitawufike sihlale platforms kule TV yethu eMaswati le ESTVA Eswatini TV ngulowo mgomo wethu PS na CEO kuze ukuthi sikhona kwenda lokho sifinyelele lapho ubida ukuthi sibe namathuluzi alokusebenza ukuze ukuthi sikhone lokho kwenda lokho sibe namathuluzi la kahle langakwehlele langahazi langafinyelele lungakhanzi ukuthi sakayashoda ngezinga lethile bese phinze futhi siba nale talent lesi kholo lokuthi sinayo italent yes iyadzinga ukuthi siyikhulise njengoba into adimi ihlale vele lichubeka likhula njalo njalo sabonga nje ukuthi Eskom eminyakeni emibili ledlulile usilekelele kustrainela ama-independent producers kuze ukuthi kube ngesikwakhako ngekhathi esiteshini uphinde futhi kube ngesikutfola kulabanye labakhiqidako ngaphandle ngoba sifuna kuhlanganisa le micondo yeMaswati kwakha le entertainment yesive ukuthi nizanto ngetingono tesive njengoba ngiyakholwa ukuthi khona nje tinhlelo labanye nje bebaye bambude ngaphandle estradini ukuthi uyabona ukuthi lelo hlelo belwenziwa independent producer bathi abese seyihamba seyiyema ngetinkinga letichama ngasestation ayingakuyo nalabanye bahambe bema ngetinkinga letichama ngasestation ayingakuyo so siya pledge CE ukuthi le movement le Eskom la silekelele nayo namhlanje sidawi faka into good use ngesilungu sisho PS ukuthi cha solo sibukile ndima ukuthi lapho safaka khona ukuthi la uphuma nelutho kuze kuthi sihlanganise lokubuya ngala lesipholileka Eskom naloko lotawuqhamuka ngakumtalo wethu uhulumende ukuthi sinikete a good kickstart njengoba kasho umlangeni la le-station so khona kuya phambili kuze kuthi Luswati lonke ngalinye lade ukuthi ngekhaya ngiyabukela TV yakithi siyakhuthazana kakhulu ukuthi vele eMaswati ayibukele ayade angiphindza ngivete nje ke PS lokuthi le TV yakithi seyitholakala kuma platforms lambadlwana uyayithola ngasikujana uyithole akhona lama TV lamanye lasangasamdzingi esikujana la ufika nje esitolo ufuna iTV lengamdzingi esikujana bayakunika lethenga nje kuphela ubukele Eswatini TV nalamanye ama-channels phindze futhi naku DSTV solo kuyakuthola sisangena ke kancane nala kuma platforms lase alaticingweni tethu labo social media ukuthi nakhona sitholakale sifuna lokuthi yonke indzawo sitholakale noma la kangwane noma ngaphandle kwala kangwane ukhona nje kwati ukuthi indzawo lasekhaya lithini nemagama lamafishane nje kangako PS nasine libandla lonke singe Eswatini TV siyabonga kakhulu sito lasephelona Eskom selivileke leligama labeka lishudolo ukuthi akusibokugcina so sihlala sivulekile sihlala sivuleke emehlo siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you so much.
First acting CEO loyo Eswatini TV Andreas Dlamini naye abeka amagama akhe kubonga kuye donation esuka ka Eskom manje stabahla emakethe nasibuya sibe sikhuluma ngabantu nge-Data Protection Act.
Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni. Come on. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store. We're good together.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Welcome back. Now, people's personal data are being processed every second at work, in their relations with public authorities, in the health field when they buy goods or services, travel or surf the internet. Individuals are generally unfamiliar with the risks related to the protection of their personal data and of their rights in this respect. They are seldom aware of what they can do if they consider that their rights have been breached, or of the role of national data protection agencies. In Eswatini, the Communications Commission is the Data Protection Authority, operating under legislation, the Data Protection Act. But what is the Data Protection Act, and what is the role of the Communications Commission as a Data Protection Authority? The Commission's Data Protection Manager, Stelos Melane, has the answers to that and more. Ngoni siba kakhulu ukusijoyina lo mhla elihlelweni. Yeah, I think the first two questions I've already alluded to. Nangisa introduce. I think the first one, what is the Data Protection Act?
Yes, it's a new act. I would say it's new because it was passed last year in March 2022, and it's an act that will actually that regulates the processing of personal information or personal data, as you may call it. But logumcogangayo is that ibega the ways in which you can process personal data. It guides on how you can process personal data. But above all, it also says now the commission, it also expands now the mandate of the commission as you knew it. The commission now is regarded as the Data Protection Authority or agency that will oversee that data is processed in a lawful manner. So, and also one thing that is good about this act is that it also introduces or guarantees certain rights for data subjects, which is me and you. Our data, as you've just said, is all over.
Yeah.
And who knows where the data is, how it is used, and who has access to it. Then the act has come to actually provide for those instances.
Yeah, it operates, everything is lawful. Ngifuna ukuva ukuthi uma nithi it investigates breaches and handles information and resolves complaints relating to breaches. How do you do that? Nibabhatalisa njani abantu labo lokhanza ukuthi sivele seba breachile?
Yeah, the act in kwesibili asengicala nje ekutheni under section 17 uthi nangabe sekune data breach, if an organization sekwendekile kwaba ne data breach, law section 17 uthi the first thing that they do is to notify us as a commission. And then the second thing is that they notify the data subject that have been actually impacted by that breach. But nangabe breach, then we do our investigations. If we find that the breach was as a result of negligence or criminal elements, lomthetho unayo lamatinyo, une heavy fines for I would say deliberate breaches of data. A fine is up to 100 million emalangeni if it's an organization, and the jail term if it's an individual. So umthetho lo cishe uqinile when it comes to that regard.
Yeah, asasinikete na iview ekhaya kahle lesithombe sedata ngoba generally nasikhuluma nje la ngephandle I think sinalo ukuthi data seyila internet kakhulu ngoba sibona a lot of cyber crime programs bawakhulumisa. We do know ukuthi likhwale lokugala lokuthi there's data online, but there's data everywhere. In banks, I believe there's data at Titolo. Ngicela ukuthi nje usiphe kahle lesithombe ukuthi I-data ikuphi nakuphi and who are the major data processors na ukuthi ke nisebenzisana kanjani nabo ukuqinisekisa ukuthi I-data ihandleshaya kahle between them and the consumer.
Like ngisho I-data yethu is all over. Kwale online njengalokusho ezisingena kuma websites basifuna everything about yourself. Just because you need something that you'll see, and ekugcineni bathi agree, you just click agree.
Yeah.
Then you've sold your data in a way. But I-data yethu lesikhuluma ngayo ngilelo online lenye iningi uyasho emabhange kune data yakho le nangaba ne-access kuyo. Ngathi nekusugweneta malini ebhange and ngathi nesona kune data yethu lesetibhedlela.
Yeah.
Kune data yethu lekuma internet service providers, ne data yethu lekuma telcos, tinkampani tetincingo. Tine data yethu le kune data yethu lekwa insurance. So nawubuka le scope sithi ne data yethu lekuma money lenders.
Yeah.
Lasiboleka khona imali. Kweli data yethu yonke. Kune data yethu lekuma municipalities. Ayathi ane data yakho yonke nangabe uhlala la mhlawumbe unesitadi nako so nawubuka le scope is bigger so lesikwendile ukuthi namhla sibabite bonke lesicabanga ukuthi baprocessa i-data yebantu so kutabe nje ngumhlangano lomkhulu wabo namhla lapho khona sitabe sethula kabantu silomthethonyalo sokuthi kuya embili i-data yemuntu itabo storishwa njani isikhathi lesinganani i-process yona kwende njani.
I just want us to go kancane kunakwe internet because siyayibona le prevalence yayo i-internet and lokukhatsata was seeing the surge of fake and dummy accounts online esiwakhanza ukuthi ndawubekisa nje la msebenzini I have a friend longitshela itolo ukuthi i-account yakhe bayihackile uklikhe ku-link dinto ke leti sibonile niba sensitizer ngato but on the internet every day nyalo every website so you can't put your name your surname so ufuna ukuthi log in. I think it's worrisome also reflecting back to about 4 years ago siyibonile i-Facebook in fact the Facebook CEO bamisa enkantolo I believe after elections nakuthiwa Donald Trump kuwina kwakhe there was this situation whereby there was a British political consultancy they harvested data from Facebook and it used it for the 2016 elections. Kulomsebenzi lentaba nawo lamuhla is that to ensure vele ukuthi they are held accountable ekutheni do they ensure the protection of data of consumers.
Le personal information vele nale mthetho nakwanaka yonke ikakhulu imithetho ye-data iqale kushaywa nase singene kule internet era because isuka lapho le mthetho isuka ekutheni kubonakele ukuthi as we get online and technology advancements there's a lot of data that we share and iswafaka la ku online base kuyabona no let's just have laws that will guard against disclosure or unlawful disclosure so yes nyalo lo mthetho utele kona kutogasa le into kanjalo because data is being sold today is called the modern gold because data is being sold. An example is data is sold within a millisecond. Namhlanje you can get online and search something mhlawumbe ufuna ukuthenga a gadget after that you will see how many pops up will now direct you to certain gadgets but you didn't search for those other sites so within a millisecond your data is sold because they've already profiled you ukuthi ufuna kwendani wena so it's an industry so if there are no laws to guard that industry then we are building what we call internet anarchy or online anarchy because everyone will be selling data nyalo say njengo sho kehambelana nabo cybercrime because now you will have situations where there's identity theft fraud and like hacking
as you are going to the meeting with the major data processors ngiyafala ukuthi ke nyalo usashinjela lithuba ukhulumise the consumer nyalo because we are the other end of the pendulum ekutheni bona bathathe DP ama precautions as basasebenzisana now with the major data processors as well as labo internet.
Lokukahle nalomthetho lesiyothula vele siseta kakhulu nala kuma consumers si commission eseta uphuma nje nemkhangaso lo mthetho unema rights ama consumers as a 7 kulomthetho uyasho ukuthi consumer kunelungelo lawo nje lekufuna silihlonipho lekusifuna uvume lekucala lelo lesifuna ngivume ngale information yami ukuthi wena lo ithatha utayisebenzise la ini utayigcina isikhathi lesinganani futhi itawuhlala kuphi njani ngubani lo myelo tawukhona who will have access to my information that is with you so those rights are guaranteed in the act and for now we have called the data processors because they have the data of the consumer and then thereafter we then speak to the consumers about their rights and how they will enforce their rights and of course us as a commission we are there to safeguard Lama rights. That's why you read a provision there about complaints. If the consumer feels right to data has been infringed, they have a right to come and complain to the commission, and then we will deal with the matter as provided in the legislation.
Very much needed interventions. Yeah, data protection manager from Eswatini wakaSimelane ke beka nathi lamhla ekuseni usichazele kabanzi sibonga kakhulu isikhathi sakhe sibahlola ukuthi market nasibuya sigoqoda lona lihlelo.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3# and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Welcome back. Sasifike khona ke emaphethelweni elihlelo. We had an exciting show lamuhla. We had Eswatini on 2 of our interview segments. Basiphe nje tinhlangothi letahlukene, and I'm happy nganayi Data Protection Act labayotfulela major data processors lomuhla batawafundzisa kabanti ngokuthi bayiprotect kanjani i-data ye-consumer. Ukuthi ke itsini imithetho mayelana nokuthi if they do breach leyo mithetho lekhona, how do they get fined? Njengoba i-data nyalo eligolide kufanele ke ukuthi ibe protected. So I think that was an exciting. Siyababisela inhlanhla basawuqhubeka nayo leyo launch yaleyo act.
Sibonga kakhulu ukuthi nibe nathi lo mhla ehleleni Kusile Breakfast Show. Mawusonza kusivulela ngakhathateke usangakhona kusibukela YouTube. Nisale kahle, we'll see you tomorrow.